Hi friends, it's Kate, qualified dog nutritionist, and welcome back to the channel. For this video, we thought it was about time to introduce you to our Paddington bear and, give him the proper intro that he deserves. His story truly is one of resilience. He's been through so much, more than most, and he's been taking it on with joy, happiness, quirkiness, and a lots of attitude. We've always wanted to rescue dogs. Back in the UK, we used to sponsor dogs through the Dog Trust, as we were not allowed fur babies in our flat. And when we moved to Canada, we were rejected by several rescues for a few different reasons. We were newly arrived here in the country. We had never owned a dog together. And we live in a condo in a big city. Thankfully, however, we managed to buy Chester from a breeder. And a year later, we were selected by an incredible rescue called Frontier Animal Society in Stansted. And I'm going to link their page below because they do incredible work. And they selected us to adopt this little guy, Paddington, who they rescued from a puppy mill. He was in a heartbreaking state. 14 pounds overweight. He had ear infections, eye infections, infected cysts between the toes. He had rotten teeth. He's got 2 left now. He had never been out of a concrete cage, so I'd never seen stairs, I'd never seen grass. And he was just still full of his quirky little attitude. And I'll always remember the first time we went to meet him. He was with his friend who was called Honeybee, and they had been rescued from the puppy mill together. And he spotted us on Chester, probably about 200 meters away, and started just barking at us. And when I say barking, is a different kind of bark, because at the puppy mill, they actually cut his vocal cords. Yes, it's horrible. And we just heard him from far away, and he was telling us to come and get him. So we did a little bit of walking around with him on Chester, and it was just, meant to be. We brought him back home. And the heartbreaking thing about this is that that puppy mill is operating legally under provincial law. And I'm just, keep thinking about all the little pups in there that may not be as lucky as this little guy. The rescue did incredible work for the first month they had him. And actually, it was only with them for 1 month before coming home with us. And after that, it was up to us to get him healthy and keep him happy. And 7 years later, he is, still thriving. He is obviously slowing down and everything. It's normal. But how did we get him to live this so many years after being in such a rough shape? And part of the work was him, because he's a really tough little guy. But we also implemented several different things. The first thing that we did is give him the time and space to adapt. So we didn't change anything too drastically. But we were extremely lucky because Chester turned out to be the very best teacher for his big brother. And Paddington adjusted so quickly, we were actually amazed by it. We also made him walk a few times a day, slow walks at first, because he was more like wobbling at first than walking. And we took our time, so we took them separately, as Chester has a lot of energy, was younger, was running, so Paddington had his own moments for walks. And we changed his diet to a fresh diet. Unfortunately, Paddington never tolerated raw. So I started home cooking for him. We added some supplements to his diet, many different ones, but the main ones I will name would be omega-3 oil, for joints, for coat, and so many other things. We also added CoQ10 for his heart because he had a heart murmur, still does. It hasn't really progressed in the 7 years we've had him, so we're very, very lucky. We've also added a probiotic, which I always recommend to everybody, and also some mushroom powder to build up his immunity. And on top of that, obviously, we took him to an ophthalmologist. He still goes every 6 to 9 months as he has glaucoma in his left eye, and his right eye is also guarded for vision. We found out through these appointments that he also has lesions behind both eyes because of being, and I'm sorry in advance, it's horrible, because he was hit on the head several times in the puppy mill. So the main things were like diet, and I think we should do a video about that in the future, Patty Boo. What do you think? Why should we talk about the diet, how we got you healthy and nice and slim? I think he agrees, as long as he gets treats. So, all this, he had a horrible start, now he's living his very best life, but how do we stop this from happening? Because Paddington is one of the lucky ones. Not all, stories end like this. And there's nothing more this little guy would love than for puppy mills to end. And, together we can do it. And how do we do this? Well, we stop buying from puppy mills. The dogs may be cheaper. It's not worth it because the suffering behind it and the health issues that will come afterwards as well. For these little guys, it's really not worth you saving that little bit of money that you'll end up spending later, and you'll be just, hurt. I don't even know how to phrase it, but just thinking about it makes me very emotional. So, you need to buy from reputable breeder if you absolutely want to buy, but I strongly suggest rescuing because this is the best thing, the most amazing thing I think we've ever done is getting this little guy here. And we love Chester to bits. He's one. We've had him since he was 8 weeks. It's little Prince. But this little boy here, overcame so much. And he's very, very inspiring. And we just need to try and do good by them. Sorry, he's sliding. He's very tired. He's sliding down. He's also really overdue a groom. And he looks a little bit scruffy, and I'm sorry about this, but he's had a tough couple of weeks. He's had appointments at a vet 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and at the ophthalmology in the same morning. And it really took it out of him. And it took a good 8 days for him to actually recover. He was in discomfort. He had no energy, and very, unlike Paddington, he even refuses food a couple of times. So we were supposed to get him groomed last week. We cancelled because he would not be tolerating well, and we wanted him to get better. So it'll come, but I still think it looks cute. So before we wrap up, because this little guy is seriously owed a treat and a nap, just a couple of little points regarding rescuing and adopting. If you are thinking about doing it, take your time. Seriously. Just have a look at the breed. See whether this is a dog that would fit well with your family. Go meet the pup more than once if you can. And consider that pre-existing conditions are usually not covered by any insurance providers. So you'll end up having to pay out of pocket for a lot of the care that they will need. And you want to be able to provide them the very best life without feeling stressed all the time. And when we look back at the moment we adopted this little guy, we wouldn't change a thing because he's exactly where he belongs. And we'll try and feature him a little bit more. He's just those being on camera, actually. He's a natural. And we hope you enjoyed meeting him. And we'll see you next time.